Hey guys, and welcome. Kratos is a man of very few words most of the time, but as someone that has a lot of history behind him. Someone that in later parts of Ragnarok and the Valhalla DLC has started to open up, to find out who he really is, and to adapt from that merciless killing machine that he once was back in Greece, and even some parts of God of War 2018, to a much more calm and collected person who will do everything that he can to save lives rather than take them, to only kill when absolutely necessary. After Kratos' journey in Valhalla, it all became more clearer as to where he'll go next, how he's going to approach different situations, and ultimately, what he's actually going to be doing. Today, we're going to be talking about exactly that, what happened to Kratos after the Valhalla DLC. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Let's try to smash for 500 likes on today's video. Our story explain video smashed its like goal by like triple the amount. I think we're almost nearly at 2,000 likes right now. So I'll be doing a giveaway of a couple of copies of Ragnarok as well, just to say thank you, as I can't give the DLC away because the DLC is for free. So again, leave your comments down below. Go check the video out, give it a like as well to be entered into that giveaway, and I'll give a couple away to those that want them. But without further ado, everyone, let's dive straight in. Before we dive straight into the video, however, I do want to give a brief recap of the overall story for those that maybe don't want to sit through a 40 to 50 minute video to go through the entire thing. So instead, we're going to recap it briefly here as well, and all the context building up to the ending of the game, and essentially what happened to Kratos at the end of it. So strap in, let's listen. The journey to Valhalla started with Kratos receiving a letter, one that was pinned to his door days before he arrived in Valhalla. No signature on the note, however, as to who it was from, just directions and some writing saying this.
Kratos of Sparta, you are hereby invited to a challenge. Face the past, face the future. Master Valhalla, master thyself. And then directions here, no signature.
Who else knows of this entrance?
Odin and us. It's likely a trap.
Kratos, however, needed to get away from Midgard. Freya was putting together something called a Peace Council. This would be a series of leaders that Freya would oversee that would ensure peace across all of the remaining realms, and Freya's asked Kratos to be the general, the god of war. Kratos, however, was battling with his inner self ever since this question was posed to him. Kratos has always had a problem when he thinks about his past. He thinks about his past as a god of war. Throughout the entirety of the God of War story, whether that's from 2018 through to Ragnarok, he would be very hesitant even to lead the army into battle like he did in Ragnarok. He was very, very hesitant to do so for the longest of times, and only agreed to do it when it was the last resort. It was always, throughout the story, meant to be Tyr, but when we found out that Tyr was only an impersonation of Odin, plans changed pretty fast. Kratos didn't want his past to be brought back up into fruition. He didn't want any chance of his past life, the mistakes that he'd made, to be ones he'd make again, to risk any more innocent lives, and to turn back into the power-hungry monster that he once was. The story of Valhalla's DLC takes Kratos through 3 periods of his past, 3 stories that he'd go on to tell people that were all about his act of haste, and potentially actions that could have ended in a more peaceful way, but obviously he chose the other way. The first was Kratos leading an army of warriors into battle against thousands of barbarians. The barbarians, however, were too much for the Greek soldiers that he was commanding, and would end up losing the battle if Kratos didn't take drastic measures to ensure that this didn't happen. Kratos pledged his soul to a god called Ares. He would be under his command from here on out, which would go on to kill thousands of innocent people across Greece, even going on to kill Kratos' wife and daughter in a village fire that Kratos caused. However, the reason it was caused, Ares instructed him to do so. Kratos, of course, didn't know his wife and daughter was in that fire or in that village at the time, but of course when he did find out, he was devastated. But without pledging his life to Ares, Greece as he knew it would have been completely gone, all innocents dead, and it would have been taken over by barbarians. The next was a sun god named Helios. Helios was beheaded by Kratos back in Greece a long time ago, as Kratos needed to use Helios' power to take down the Greek gods. There could have been other methods used to solve this problem, such as actually maybe talking to Helios and asking him for his help, But instead, Kratos took the drastic measure to sever his head from his body. This caused many problems across Greece. The sun disappeared, causing crops to die, the sun to disappear completely, and the people to live in darkness. However, once he returned, so did the sun. Kratos would use Helios' chariot at that time to restore the sun in the sky, and would surely fall to his death in doing so, until Helios saved Kratos' life. However, even that didn't stop Kratos from cutting off Helios' head when he needed his powers. Kratos knew the consequence of killing Helios. The sun would disappear, Greece would be in forever darkness until the sun was put back into the sky. However, he did it to stop the Greek gods from killing any more innocent people, to set himself free, and to set Greece free. And finally, a statue. This represented a blacksmith story that Kratos would go on to tell. This one is the most important of all. This was a girl, one that reminded Kratos of his once daughter, described as a substitute daughter by Tyr. This girl was the key. This was the blacksmith story that Kratos would tell people in Midgard. The blacksmith died protecting a box. Because of what was inside of this box, the blacksmith had to guard it to prevent it from ever getting out. Kratos, however, was told by Athena that this box contained the answer to killing the Greek gods, so Kratos didn't have any other way about it. He needed to open this box and wouldn't stop until he did. However, when the box was opened, what was released, it pretty much turned all of the Greek gods crazy, and this girl, Pandora was her name, died because of it. She reminded Kratos of his daughter that was lost in a village fire, a fire that he caused on the command of Ares. Again, opening this box was Athena's plan, because Kratos thought that Athena was working with him. Kratos, well, didn't know the consequences of opening the box at the time, else he probably wouldn't have done so. When the evils of the box was purged, what was left was hope, which Kratos chose to release back into the world. After everything, Kratos came back full circle and sacrificed himself. However, Kratos actually lived in doing this, so he tried to do it, but it didn't work out and he ended up living. And hope, well, it still lived on inside him and the people of Greece, because whatever happened, he took out the evil and he was still alive. Hope, fear, love, and hate exists in every single one of us. But the question is, which will Kratos let guide his actions? These were memories that Kratos would seek to remember, the times in his life where he experienced pain, but also memories where he carried out selfless acts for the greater good of Greece. Tyr was the reason that Kratos was in Valhalla. He was the one who sent the note, and he was the one that brought Kratos here. Tyr went through a similar thing when he was chosen to be god of war, leading his army into battle against Odin. He had difficulties and doubts about his past as well. Was he a good leader? How could he lead in a way that would prevent the same mistakes he made in his past? Tyr, however, found out exactly this through this very same journey, conquering his mental through Valhalla. Tyr aided Kratos through his journey until he was able to face his biggest fear, his past self. Kratos was able to comfortably accept that who he was is not who he is right now. The god he is today is not the god he was back then. The person he's staring at is completely different. This is not who Kratos is now. He's learnt and grown so much from when he was sat in that throne, to the ending of Ragnarok, to the ending of Valhalla. Kratos decides to accept the position as the god of war on the Peace Council after his journey through Valhalla and becoming at peace with who he really is. And Freya? Well, she was very happy to hear this decision. So, what happened to Kratos after God of War Valhalla? Well, after this huge emotional and personal journey that Kratos went on, he became one with himself. The one thing that Kratos has really struggled with, even towards the end of his time in Greece, is regret. The struggle of dealing with what he's done in the past. The struggle of dealing with the person that he was in the past. The people he killed that could have been saved if an alternative route was found, such as Helios, and he made that very clear during the story. He beheaded Helios, and well, he could have gone another way, potentially. But Kratos did it because he needed something fast and needed a solution fast, and that was the only way that he could see it at the time. Faye was the one person that grounded Kratos, and we saw that throughout the Ragnarok story, throughout the flashbacks that we had with Faye. Kratos said in a sentence towards the ending of the Valhalla DLC when the story was finished that he was who he was today because of love. But even after love, even after the passing of Faye, he didn't let that define him, and he didn't just stop there. He carried on. Kratos continued growing as a person, as a god. He wanted the best for the good people, he wanted the best for Atreus, and he wanted to eliminate those that didn't want that back in return and wanted nothing but destruction, such as Odin, Thor, etc. Kratos after Valhalla will be the god of war or the general for Freya's peace council. Now that he's one with himself, this is the perfect opportunity for him to be able to mould that role into whatever he wants it to be, his vision of how things should be done from his experiences in the past. Kratos has always said that he's never wanted to be the god that he was back in Greece, and I think we and everyone around him can confidently say that that will never ever be the case again. Kratos, even going into Ragnarok before he blew the Gjallarhorn, needed to sleep on the idea of him becoming the general to lead the army into battle, but without his help, without his guidance and experience, they'd have never won Ragnarok. Kratos will now be the leader for the Peace Council for the 9 realms, but I don't think that's where things end for Kratos. We have to remember, Tyr and Sigrun have both went off to do a series of exploring not just across the realms but across the globe. I think this is intentionally done by Santa Monica to reiterate multiple times that there are adventures going on with different characters that we've met and we love during these stories, and I think that'll be the catalyst of how we actually move from the Norse mythology saga over to another mythology, whatever that might be. Maybe Sigrun along her travels meets someone that turns out to be a god. Maybe Tyr meets someone along their travels. Maybe one of them becomes in danger, and if it's in Sigrun's case, Mimir gets word of it, and that's where we travel and end up in Japan, or India, or anything like that. Maybe also we're forgetting about Atreus. Atreus goes off on a journey to figure out who he is as a person, to figure out who he is as a giant, to figure out where the giants are, to try and bring the giants back as a civilization in this Norse mythology saga. Maybe Atreus is the one that comes across the next mythology, the next god in this mythology. I don't know what's going to happen, only Santa Monica know at this point, but all we can do, guys, is theorize down below in the comments and figure out what the hell this next God of War game is going to be about. But everyone, that's going to be it for today's video. I really hope you have went on to enjoy, and I hope the story recap was good enough for you guys as well. But ultimately, as I said, leave your thoughts and opinions down below. Leave all of your theories as to what you think is going to happen down below. There's no such thing as a stupid question or a stupid theory, because ultimately it's what you think. So leave it down below in the comments. But as I said, guys, let's leave a like on today's video. Let's reach for 500. That'd be absolutely amazing. Subscribe if you guys are brand new as well, and make sure those notifications are ding-donged also. That'd be absolutely amazing. And without further ado, everyone, we'll see you guys next time.